Ooh. Today on a special episode of Collider SportsTime, we're talking about the top 5 moments of 2019. Kawhi Leonard leading the Raptors to the title, or was it the Saints and the Rams in that controversial pass interference, no call, or the Women's World Cup with the United States winning that thing again? We're going to talk about all that here on a brand new Collider SportsTime. How are you doing? Happy holidays, everybody. Hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you're getting ready for a phenomenal new year. I know we are. Thank you so much for being on the ride with us, as long as you've been on the ride with us all through 2019 on Collider SportsTime. It's been my joy. I'm your host, John Rocha, joined by my co-host over here, Matt Knost. How are you? I'm
good. Happy New Year to everybody out there, and I'm ready to jump right in this, talk about our top 5 moments apiece of the year.
Yeah, we got some similarities. We got some differences. You know, for sure, we had to bring a loud voice who knows exactly what he feels about everything. Mr. Jay Washington, welcome back, brother, man.
Yes, I do. I'm very vocal about it, especially on Twitter. Also, I'm getting ready for the new year with a bunch of Pedialyte packets. You got to get those. They got electrolyte Pedialyte packets that all you do is dump in some water, hangover done. So for the New Year's celebration, bam, there you go.
Jay's a bit behind the times, don't you think? Like, we've had Pedialytes for 10 years now.
His is an emergency packet version.
Right, it's the emergency packet version. That's what I'm saying. It's not like the regular just getting a bottle of Pedialyte.
Right.
Just done.
You're good to go.
You're good to go.
All right, you worried about that? All right, I respect that.
I mean, you said we're getting ready for the new year.
We are getting ready for the new year.
Ready for New Year's Eve.
I know you showed me your outfit. I'm sure you're going to post it on Twitter when you get a chance to do so.
Like it is. Flex with it.
I will say this: it's interesting. People are going to notice Jay when he walks in the room. That's for damn sure. I'm going to try to hold on during this whole episode. I got 2 Chicago boys rolling with me. We'll see what we can do. This East Coast boy, what he can do. But let's start off. We're going to count him down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're around the table and hear from everyone else and hear from everyone here what their numbers are. So let's start this off. Jay, let's start with you. What's your number 5, my man?
My number 5 for this year has been the big shakeup with NBA free agency. Now, last season we had all these big threes. Now we're at dynamic duos. And these duos that we have, some were like, wait, are you serious? We got Westbrook and Harden back together, but they're in Houston now. You got LeBron and AD. You got Kawhi and PG over at the Clippers. Right. You got Kyrie and Kevin Durant eventually. You look around all the
Maybe.
He's coming back.
I'm saying Kyrie's playing himself out of that team. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Kyrie is Kyrie, but once Kevin Durant hits the floor, he'll be okay. Once he know Kevin Durant timetable. But that shook up the league.
Yep.
That shook up the league. That took away this big three we kept looking at for so many years. And now it's just everybody's dispersed. So now the dynamics of this NBA is who can take it.
Yeah.
But also we're seeing some of the big threes pan out the way we thought they would. You know, you finally get PG and Kawhi together. You're like, okay, they're gelling. You get AD and LeBron and you're like, this is what a lot of people were talking about. LeBron's age starts to show, AD being injury prone. So you have these different things. So that for me is my top 5 thing this year.
Okay. All right, Matt, thoughts? A host of Dropping Dimes over there. Thoughts about this dynamic duo. And wouldn't you know it, the Wizards tried doing that 5 years ago, but of course they're 5 years too early.
John Wall and Bradley Beal.
Yeah, but once again, I think we talked about it last week. You guys have a very interesting team.
It's true.
Bertrands, Hachimura, Wall, there's video of him dunking.
Already?
Yeah. He's looking springy. Brad Beal is legit and borderline, if not an all-star.
Yeah.
So, you guys aren't in the worst shape possible.
Okay.
But he still wants John Wall gone no matter what.
I do.
Well, that contract, I don't blame you, but you're going to be stuck with
I don't care how many
John
dunks
Wall.
he's got. But this is pretty amazing. This must be something for you to watch as NBA observer like you are.
It's great. So we shy away now from all the threes. So there's more parity within the league. We don't know who's going to win this year. You assume it's going to be one of 3 teams at this point, the two LA teams or Milwaukee. Those are the cream of the crop right now. Milwaukee the best. But they interestingly, they don't have a dynamic duo unless you want to count Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go Middleton and Giannis, but no one's really pairing them as the duo.
Yeah.
Giannis.
It's Giannis and the Bucks.
Right.
It
could have been Brogdon if he hadn't gone to Indy. So, there's possibilities there too.
Well, Indy gave him more money.
Yeah.
So that's all there is to it.
What he claims they showed me more love. That's what he said. So,
everybody gonna say, you know what more love means? It means more zeros.
Yeah. How about a little hug or a kiss every once in a while? That's showing you love. Extra money, that can go away. I will say this. I think it's fantastic. I didn't think it was going to work, to be honest with you, these duos. And to see it happening, especially with the Lakers, I thought that we did our preview. I didn't think they were going to be as high as they are. But they've been incredible. They're on a 3-game losing streak right now, and LeBron has that. As we're recording this, and LeBron has that injury. But they've been done really well. I think they've surprised a lot of people.
Especially the deficit, like they still need outside shooting, as far as I can see, because they have Danny Green and KCP, and those are the only two that are shooting really well by league standards.
Yeah, but as far as the Lakers standards, you watch KCP, he's on and off.
Yeah.
KCP's on and off. Danny Green he got to control his temper, because you can just see him at any moment get ready to get tossed. Like, hey, bro, they kind of need you on the floor. Calm down. But it's for me, it's that whole Anthony Davis. When everybody was so hyped up about him coming here to LA, to the Lakers, I'm like, you do realize he's injury prone. He's injury prone. And what they want to get out of him, can you get it? Remember, he was the guy in New Orleans. And now he probably has to pick up the slack of LeBron if LeBron is hurt.
But LeBron's playing well.
But he's playing, but I'm just saying,
less minutes. He's playing great, most assists than he's had in his entire career.
Now, because that's going to beckon the question is, if we come to playoffs and they're in it, does that mean now he picks up his minutes because he's been saving all his time throughout the season?
You would assume so. You shorten your rotations in the playoffs. So, yeah, you would come down to a 7 to 8 man lineup and you'd be playing way more minutes.
Way more minutes, yeah.
I think that's so. He made a joke about load management at Kawhi Leonard's expense, but LeBron's going to get load managed throughout the year.
In Cleveland one year, he just took a sabbatical in January and went to Miami. Like, you've done it as well.
You're right, LeBron. Stop that. Like, you sat there and was like, I don't need nothing right now. I'm good.
Well, it was fun for us to watch as NBA fans to see the madness of everybody switching teams. But, of course, Adam Silver and the NBA had a reaction to it. Now they're going to be a little more stringent going forward, or they have measures going forward about looking at free agency and seeing if teams are kind of behind the scenes making these deals ahead of time, because they were announced like 12:01.
Good luck.
Yeah, basically.
And the thing is, it's not even the teams. Now, it's the players.
Well, of course it's the players.
Texting with one another.
It's the players sitting there like this, like, yo, what's up? You want to do this?
Or texting a friend who's texting the other player to go around it.
Well, there's no rule that says that they can't text.
All front offices can't talk to players.
Right. Yeah, and agents.
And agents and all that.
Yeah.
Players can talk to players all the time.
Right.
That's how we got initially the big three in Miami.
Yep.
Them all talking and hanging out. So I understand you want to put rules in place to try to curb it, but what are you curbing?
Exactly.
Now we're getting 120-point games on the regular.
Yeah.
All-star point games are every game just about now.
It's madness, especially my Wizards, man. I can't believe how many points they're putting up.
Well, you play no defense, but you score a lot of points, baby.
We'll get that page out of that Paul Westphal book. All right, talk to me, Matt. What's your number 5?
My 5 was Ruiz over Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
For the heavyweight championship, because for that picture alone, I think it sums it up. That dude looks like he was the guy sitting next to me at Rise of Skywalker. I'm not even kidding. Dude looked exactly like him, and he was heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
And lost the rematch, came in, was like, maybe it was a bad idea to put on 18 pounds. And he's like, you are already overweight.
Yeah.
You put on 18 pounds, but the fact that he came in, it was a last-minute fight. Everybody assumed he was going to get his lunch handed to him.
And won.
And he won. And it's one of the few times, it's one of the few sports where a fluke win like that can happen. And it's nice to see within the heavyweight division. Also got people talking about it that don't care.
Yeah.
So it draws interest back in. Hopefully the heavyweights can stay competitive and whatnot. And who knows if we're done with Ruiz, but perhaps he can come back. I mean, he's still got a name, but it was such a shocking moment that it's like, all right, that makes my top 5.
Well, he was the first first fighter of Mexican descent to capture a major heavyweight title. He knocked out Joshua in that 7th round. He had also knocked him down twice in the 3rd round and then twice in the 7th before they finally finished it off here. Pretty shocking. But yeah, Joshua took that loss and got motivated. Ruiz went out partying. So this could be a Mexican Buster Douglas situation. I don't know.
Well, that's exactly how you look at it. Because again, Joshua went into this fight was like, who is dude? Yeah, whatever. I don't need to train really hard anymore. I don't need to really focus and prepare. And that's what happens. You get caught slipping. And then Ruiz was like, man, look, go ahead, keep the buffet coming. He's like, because I beat him already like this. He can't beat me again. And then Anthony Joshua came and got ripped, and everybody was like, okay. So the rematch was like, dude, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Because he came in and was like, oh, I'm not going to let this happen again. But like you said, that shocked the world, because now we are talking about the heavyweight division more.
Yep.
You have Tyson Fury. You have Deontay Wilder. You have Anthony Joshua. You have all these people now bringing the heavyweight division back to the forefront. For the longest, it's been the featherweights and the lightweights.
Yeah.
And now the heavyweights are like actually worth watching.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible stuff, and we'll see what happens with the Ruiz, certainly if he bounces back. But now, I mean, Deontay Wilder said this. He said, I don't think we need to have multiple belts. We need to have one belt. There's not enough name recognition amongst the heavyweights. We should have 4 or 5 belts. There should be one person in charge of the belts, and then it should be an undisputed championship every single time. It kind of serves his purpose because he wants to fight. He wants to fight Joshua and have all the belts. But
yeah, that'll never happen. There's too many promotion companies. There's too many.
That's too much money.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because then you have to argue over who gets what cut.
Yeah.
And then that's where everything goes wrong.
Plus, they get 3 championship, 4 championship different fights a year guaranteed, as opposed to 1 to maybe 2.
Yeah.
Because of schedules of having to build up.
Yeah.
Well, now my number 5 was my hometown, Washington Nationals, winning the World Series. I'm not claiming to be a Nationals fan. I'm a Yankees fan because we didn't have baseball when I was growing up in the Washington, D.C. area at the time, and I was damned if I was going to be an Orioles fan. But the Nationals did their thing. Pretty incredible here. They had 19 wins on May 23rd of this season, and somehow put it all together, found their way through it without Bryce Harper, who had gone off to Philadelphia, and somehow became the World Series champions in the most unusual World Series ever, where every team won on the road. Phenomenal. They won 4-3. They had played in 5 elimination games, trailed in all of them, and ended up winning them. This is an incredible, incredible story. No one saw this coming. Absolutely no one saw this coming, and it was incredible to see them doing it.
Yeah, flat out. I mean, when you go and you lose the first 2 at home.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
It's
wow.
a wrap.
In a 5-game series. Yeah.
Well, and to continue that on, you get to the World Series, and they have all this momentum, and then to again lose the 2 at home, and you're like, oh, that sucks. You guys had a great run. It isn't the previous history of the other playoffs doesn't really matter because the World Series is slightly different. The pressure and the stakes are much higher. And then to rattle off all the wins in Houston, like, suddenly this is a series. It was out of nowhere. It pulled someone like me, who's a passive baseball fan at this point, back into it just for the intrigue of, can the Astros do it again, or will the Nationals get their first title? It's definitely worth a top 5 moment.
Yeah, phenomenal 7-game series between both those teams. And Houston, got a lot of trouble recently now for the supposedly sign stealing or whatever they were doing. So this was a stacked team. Pretty much, I thought the Nationals were going to get stomped here because it felt like the Colorado Rockies run, where they went all through that side of the bracket and then got into the finals, but then ended up getting into the World Series, but ended up getting destroyed. I thought that was going to happen, but it didn't. They really stepped up to the plate, so for lack of a better term, and did incredible work.
You would not have believed that, like you said, lose the first 18 games.
Yeah.
You lose the first 18 games, you're like, well, this is setting the course for what their season is going to be. Right. But again, you can compare that to football when the Giants did it.
Right, as a wild card.
As a wild card team. Just to hear it. But again, to have teams now be those Cinderella stories afterwards. Teams you never expected to do it and to win. I'm like, okay, I'm with you. After the Cubs won the World Series, I was like, look, both sides of the city won. I don't care anymore. I really don't have to watch baseball that much, but to hear that you lose your home games in the World Series, you're like, you down 0-2.
Yeah.
All they got to do is win the 2 at home. And we're talking about Houston. So it's like, all I got to do is win those. And then you win those 2. You're like, wait, what is happening? And then it happens. It was a good look, man. And congratulations to the fans. Now, the question is, do you repeat? Probably not.
Well, they brought back Strasburg, that's for sure. We'll see if I don't think they'll repeat, honestly. I think it was just so much had to happen for them to get into this position and then to win it. So, but you never know. You never know. As Rudy Tomjanovich once said, never doubt the heart of a winner. All right, what's your number 4? Matt, let's go to you.
I chose the no call on the pass interference in the NFC Championship game last year, which was the Rams and the Saints, and it was so egregious. It's one of those. It stuck with me because it wasn't even close. The guy got knocked down 2 yards before the ball was even remotely close.
In front of the ref.
Yeah, right in front of, on the sideline, blatant as anybody could see. Every person I know believes that was a pass interference call, and flat out they didn't call it. It shifted the momentum of that game, and then LA came down, scored, takes it, and they go to the championship, and they put up diddly nothing against the Pats in the final. And who knows what Breeze and company could have done. Somebody that they've been there. They've got the pedigree of having won a championship. They're not going to be basically afraid of the lights and all that jazz, where maybe perhaps the Rams were when they showed up.
Certainly Goff was.
I don't know. They didn't look like themselves, like they'd been just world beaters the entire season. So just watching that play, it stuck out. It's when we're talking about top 5 moments, it's the things that were indelible to me and I'll carry with me for years forward. And that one was just so egregious that.
Yeah, this is your number 4 as well, Jay.
This is my number 4 as well. Everybody knows I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I love the home team, but I do rock with the Saints heavily. I was with them when they had Aaron Brooks. Yes, that's how you know. Okay. But to see that blatant pass interference, there wasn't one of those, we look at it from a different angle and we see something different. Every angle showed it. And for the league to be like, we sorry. And then for people to say, fans in the NBA to say, they had a chance to win it later and they didn't. You took the heart out of the team at that moment.
Yeah.
You took any feeling they knew it was hopeless. Like, if we get screwed on a play this pivotal, what else can happen? You're not in the game anymore. And so, you're right, Matt. When they went to the Super Bowl, the Rams showed they shouldn't have been there.
Yeah,
they showed they should not have been there. I don't care how hype people were, how everybody in LA was like, yes, the Rams. Your team should not have been there.
Yeah,
they were not a Super Bowl. They were a good playoff team. They were not a Super Bowl caliber team, and we saw that the way Tom Brady and Bill Belichick dissected that team. But again, you live and learn. Sean McVay, youngest NFL head coach. Jared Goff, somebody who got there, who now just got a buttload of money, which everybody is like, how? All these things, and a lot of this comes from this screw job.
Yeah, I know. It felt like the whole season they were suffering through the hangover of the Super Bowl and this controversial call, because a lot of people like Jay felt they didn't deserve to be in that Super Bowl, and they certainly played like they didn't deserve to be there because they were overwhelmed by the situation overall. And the Todd Gurley phantom injury, who knew what that was all about. But then you see Goff, and Goff could be the next Mark Sanchez. It's like 1 or 2 good years, and then poof, off the face of the earth as a good quarterback.
Everybody gave him that money. I still don't. I just don't.
$110 million. But if you're in a position to negotiate, you negotiate for what you can get. And screw the franchise, and he did that. I agree. This was such an incredible call. And you watch the GIF now, or you watch the video, it's so blatantly obvious. He doesn't even make an attempt to look behind him, and fully admitted it afterwards. It's what caused it changed the rule this year.
You can review PIs. You can review stuff like this. Like, go ahead and look in under that hood real quick.
This is how egregious it had to be for them to finally change that rule, because people have been clamoring for PI reviews for quite some time. So there it is. And the Saints got screwed again this year by one of those phantom PI non-calls again. All right, let's move on to our number 4. Number 4 for me, rather, is Liverpool defeating Barcelona. Look, I'm a massive Liverpool fan. How could I not put this in? We were down 3-0 in the Champions League. And with the Champions League, when you get into the elimination games, you play home and away. And it's about goals against and goals for. So they were down 3-0 going in back to Liverpool. My team was. They didn't have Mohamed Salah. They didn't have Roberto Firmino. It was 2 of the top scorers. They had to rely on Divock Origi and a strong midfield. And somehow, on a magical night in Liverpool, they scored 4 goals against Lionel Messi and this Barcelona team with Luis Suarez and Coutinho, both former Liverpool players, playing for Barcelona, and somehow did it. It was a miracle and a half. Went on to win our 6th Champions League championship. But still, this was something no one saw coming. I remember losing my mind in the office watching it while I was trying to work. Matt, any thoughts?
Look, congratulations, because that Barcelona team is stacked.
Yeah, it was.
It really is stacked. And not to say that Liverpool doesn't have a collection of amazing talent.
Sure, but we do now.
But to score 4 goals in a game, I mean, outside of that World Cup game where Brazil just got curb stomped by, was it Germany?
Germany, 7-2.
Yeah, it is rare to put up a massive, the more expected goal or outcome is they win the game and it's 2-1 or 1-0 or 2-1 or something, 2-0 or something like that. To come on, you need 4 at the very least to win this. It's a testament to their resolve, and congratulations.
Yeah, Klopp called them mental warriors from this point forward, and they have done so. The same thing this year. They just won, continuing the year rather, they just won the Club World Cup as well over Flamengo, and that's them beating every top team who won their tournament on their respective continent. And so pretty incredible stuff for Liverpool. Yeah.
I am not much of a football fan, but I know how passionate you were between you and Jack in this office. When is the game on?
Yeah, that's true.
That day was working. Electric. I was like, yeah, hold on. Okay, look, God damn it. Just watching y'all in the office was the best part about it. But again, from hearing what you guys say, hey, happy for them.
Yeah, happy for them. Great stuff. I mean, it's really one of these miracles. And holding a Barcelona team, not just scoring 4 goals, but holding a Barcelona team scoreless. That potent. Pretty amazing, especially not with our top 2 scores. All right. Jay, what's your number 3?
My number 3 was something we talked about on here a lot, and that was the U.S. women's national soccer team just destroying the competition and winning the World Cup at the end. And that first game when it was like 13-2, 13-2, and then everybody said they were playing unfair. They weren't showing sportsmanship because they kept scoring. What are you supposed to do? Just hey, we already got an 8-goal lead. We can stop because you know what? The moment you do that and back off, then the other team catches up.
Yep.
You go, hey, I'm under that belief that's what.
We just talked about how 4 goals.
I know.
It's a hell of a feat.
I understand that. I get it.
I agree with those people piling on just a little bit against inferior talent. It's a little excessive.
It's just sending a message.
Excessive.
They were sending a message.
Yeah, a message of F you.
And also, it actually made people, what was even more significant about this was it made people look at the difference, the way that women's soccer as a whole is treated compared to men's soccer. And, of course, everybody argued about the ad revenue, the views and things like that. But this year, they brought so many eyes on them that now there will be continual eyes on them, which now beckons that question, do they get this pay raises they're asking for, which they have earned after this?
Yeah. It just comes down to how much ad revenue they can generate.
Right.
So if they continue to capture all of our eyes, boom, they'll get their pay raise. And I hope that's the case because they thoroughly deserve it. They're engaging every time the World Cup comes up. Everybody coalesces in this country and gets behind and watches. And I got up several times to go see games and go out to bars and sit in packed areas and whatnot just to watch these games because the atmosphere was so electric. It was my number 3 as well.
Yeah.
And it was, it's one of those experiences that we all shared collectively in this country, and that's rare. It doesn't often happen, but sports can bring a bunch of different and disparate individuals together on a common goal. And the U.S. women's team, common 13 goals. The women's team did that, so well that hopefully they can continue this trend and it inspires the next generation of young women to get into the sport, and we just continue this excellence going forward. Hopefully it translates into the men's side because we have generations to catch up, but perhaps it can motivate young boys to get into the game as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point you make, Matt. You want to bring notoriety to something this big, to want to be a part of it, right? We have so many incredible sports in this country between the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, hockey. Our greatest athletes kind of go towards that direction because they make more money that way.
Yeah.
But soccer will catch up. It will take some time, but I think it will get there. It's going to take generations like you just mentioned. But look at the MLS. MLS is well over 20 years, still alive, still expanding, still making money. And that says volumes that there is an interest in this country in men's soccer as well. But what these ladies did is incredible. Under all the pressure, when you go in as a number 1 seed, we've seen this in multiple tournaments, we've seen this in multiple sports. It doesn't always mean that you're going to end up in the top final game and win. They did it under all the pressure. They didn't beat any cakewalks once they got into elimination rounds. They beat a tough France team in France. They beat a tough England team, which was on the rise, and they beat a tough Dutch team as well that had won the European Championship. So they faced some juggernauts and earned their victories and adjusted their tactics to fit Jill Ellis with her incredible work. And Megan Rapinoe went toe-to-toe with Trump to add even more pressure to the situation.
Megan Rapinoe was every chance she had.
It was nuts.
She had, and then you had more people speaking up, and then he even tried to go back at her, and then he had to realize, yo, you really can't go with somebody right now who's repping your country hard.
Right.
Who's repping it hard and like literally making a stand. Everybody's like, you will see how this plays out.
Right. As if they didn't have enough pressure, you throw that on top of it. It could have broke them. It could have split the team.
Oh, absolutely.
It could have been an issue, but no. They all rallied around Megan. They all rallied around, and Megan pulled out some incredible goals to keep them going. You know, so
I watched some games, like I said, like you did with some of the men's with Liverpool. I was watching some of the women's games. Like I just got to watch this because again, it was so captivating when you hear 13 goals. You hear 13, and then you hear the women's soccer, because again, automatically you don't give it credit. Like, I hate to say this, the WNBA, and they have some good players.
Yeah, they're great players.
They have some great players. So it's like, all right, let me check it out. And then I see it, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is dope. This is actually, it's interesting. It's keeping you into it. Like, yo, should that be some card or something? Should you pull out a color? Like something like that. So yeah, I had fun with it, and I'm just hoping this next year brings more.
Yeah, I agree. Megan Rapinoe winning the Golden Ball, and Rose Lavelle winning Super Bowl, the Copper Bowl. It's pretty incredible stuff. But overall, also Alex Morgan, that little sip and tea. You know what I'm saying? All of us love basketball. All of us love the people who can talk the best crap on the court. That is a way you talk crap in the professional game of the World Cup and football. I thought that was brilliant. So, Matt, what's your number 2?
My top 2 will be no surprise to anybody out there that knows anything about my sports affiliations. My number 2 is Dame Lillard waving goodbye to the OKC Thunder after he shoots a 74-foot. Paul George calling out a bad shot. Which technically, yes, but they were tied, so why not? In the game, Russell Westbrook has been big leaguing Damian Lillard since Damian Lillard basically had to be someone that Westbrook had to worry about.
Yep.
And he shoots that shot. He looks right at Westbrook and goes, bye-bye, bye-bye. And then he gets just mobbed by his teams. And we've seen him do this a few times. There was the one where he was just establishing his name, and LaMarcus Aldridge was still on that team, and he took out Houston on a ridiculous catch-and-shoot 3 fade away from the same roughly depth of field for that shot. Yep. And that to see... after Portland got swept out of the playoffs the previous season by the New Orleans Pelicans, and it was just an anticlimactic season, to come in this and to storm through to take out OKC when most people would have taken OKC because of Portland's previous woes, and then Portland pushes through to the finals and then ultimately got their once again their butt handed to them. But to have that moment and to wave bye-bye to a guy that has been big leaguing you for years. And it's basically through mutual admiration.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't like each other. It's just it's purely competition. And just to get the one-upsmanship. And once again, Westbrook goes out in the first round for the 3rd year in a row, I believe. And the previous year they got destroyed by a rookie in Donovan Mitchell. Yep. And it was just something that's indelible to me for last season. Just the bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
It was the most beautiful bye-bye. And then the picture on the ground laying. The picture is the best.
That is it.
The picture is the best because it became the meme for so many things. After that, I wish we had those memes on standby just to go, see, with everything with that day. But again, it's cementing who Damian Lillard is.
Right.
It's like you don't stop under, like people know who he is, but people don't put his name high up there. Yeah. And it's just like, now you like, oh, okay, all right, you can bye-bye. And it made Russell Westbrook so mad he left the team.
Yeah.
he left the team.
Man, PG. PG demanded a trade.
PG was like, you know what? Both of them were like, you gold. Because remember, PG was originally supposed to come here before OKC. Right. And so he was like, I'm with Russell Westbrook. We okay. We're going to go to the playoffs. And again, like you said, 3 years in a row, out first round.
Right.
Russell Westbrook was like, I can't do it no more.
It was a far cry from that video where they were smoking cigars and celebrating PG resigning to the OKC.
Oh,
poof,
man.
Everybody's gone. And surprisingly, Chris Paul is carrying that team. Right now, they're in the top 8 of the West, so it's kind of crazy. And OKC is still doing their thing.
Yeah. It's not like they're a juggernaut in that top 8.
But at least they're in playoff contention.
They are flat out.
But look at the West as a whole. There's certain teams, like there's maybe four teams you like, okay, this is the West.
Yeah, right.
The rest of them are you like, let's just see what happens.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, probably. Look, that shot of Dame is the best because Dame, I remember a few years ago when Dame said, no, we're going to beat these Warriors, and everybody laughed at Dame, but that's that's the kind of confidence. Yeah, they got swept out, but you got to have confidence, especially if you're the leader of that team, the point guard of that team. You got to have confidence. Dame's always been kind of on the back end when people talk about the greatest players in the NBA currently right now, but he needs to be at the forefront once and for all. And these Game 7, these buzzer beaters in the playoffs that you mentioned, the Houston one, this is how you build your legacy. This is how you build respect, and he still does commercials. He's still doing all these commercials. So Dame is a commodity, and he knows how to play this game well. I want them to win a title under Dame. I'm desperate for them to win a title under Dame before he goes over that hill. Because he's such a fantastic
That window's
player.
getting smaller and smaller, though.
It is.
So that means, will he do it staying in Portland, or does he finally just say, I'm going to have to go?
That's the question.
Yeah, he wants to stay in Portland.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
indications are he never wants to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good thing, because you have those players that are like, look, I started here. This is where I am. Cool.
Yeah.
But now it's like you got to bring those pieces over, and at this point, it's getting more and more difficult.
Yeah.
Because the other markets are so appealing with like, here's the potential. Now you have 2 LA teams which legit have potential to go to.
Yeah.
You can say you can either start to become the full star in the Lakers, or go on a team that just took over the Staples Center, even though we know unofficially it's still the Lakers' house. But now people are more so coming to see the Clippers than the Lakers, in a sense.
Well,
Some people. Some.
They're a draw.
Yeah, they're a draw. But you have these things that are happening now. And so now you have to like, okay, so what type of free agency, or who's coming out of these classes, these upcoming classes that we can feel like, hey, it's going to be good enough to put here and go with this and maybe give him what he wants.
Yeah. Truly incredible. All right,
Look, ain't no more Golden State, so hey.
For now. This is 1 year.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
Yeah. Clay comes back.
Well, listen,
Steph's already started to travel with the team.
D'Angelo will be traded. What will they get for him?
Listen, Steve Kerr has to learn how to coach this year. He's got
a G League team.
How dare you?
He's got a G. Eric Pascal is their second best player.
He's never had to really think about it. He's coached, but he's had this team that was like, bam.
I don't know, man.
Dude, up until D'Angelo coming back, Willie Cauley-Stein was the only one any person in the NBA could have pointed out. They had guys that are just like, I don't know who that is.
That sounds like
I
the
don't know who that
Bulls,
is.
so let's be real.
Please, I knew. Well, okay, that's different because we know the roster. But they at least had a couple dudes that I knew of.
Fair.
Yeah.
There's like 4 starters.
Number
I'm like,
2,
I've never heard of you.
Yeah, drop your number 2.
My number 2 is a story that someone is still going on.
Yeah,
and
speak about controversy.
Antonio Brown going crazy this season.
Oh, Lord.
This is the best picture you could have, because it all started with a helmet. It literally started with a helmet, and it's escalated into the craziest circus you've ever seen. He wants a helmet. He can't get it. He wants to leave, so he goes to Oakland. Oakland is like, cool, I'm here. I want this helmet. He can't get it. I want to leave. Then all of a sudden, ain't nobody going to get him. Here come the Patriots. Yeah, we got him. Helmet, he's cool. He plays a game. Now, here comes a bunch of allegations. Now, hear him on Twitter and everything. I'm out the league. I'm just done with the league. And then now it's like, I might want to play. It's the craziest story that's ever happened in football in the past several years, because it keeps on developing. And the thing is, there are teams that still want him throughout all of this. Yeah. Like, I've heard one of the teams is the Minnesota Vikings that's like, yo, as soon as it's clear, if you can come here, we got you.
Yeah.
There are teams that some people are like, oh, AB's done in the league. He is nowhere near done.
Yeah.
No matter how much his off the field antics may be, teams are like, yo, we need this. This is the top tier receiver in the game currently. We need him.
Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, he'll have a job. I'm surprised. I hadn't heard Minnesota's interested, because they already have 2 guys that are stellar, and adding a third to that needs the ball. He'll be a diva malcontent. Just like these 2 seem to coexist. But if they can make it work, they can make it work. Yeah, he'll have a job. Someone will gladly pay him money.
I think he should go to the Redskins. We don't have anybody, so it'd be kind of fun.
Is that really who you want in the rent around?
No, because he'll just implode the team like Dion did. Dion, you still owe us that signing bonus. This was incredible, because Jay, you even left. Jay, as crazy as it was, your recap, you still left out 2 or 3 other crazier things. That's how nutty this story is. This actually started in Pittsburgh when he was being cantankerous and taking those videos.
Halftime when he got busted for that.
With Tomlin there doing all that stuff that he did there. Then he pushes his way out of Pittsburgh with Le'Veon Bell, of course, doing the same thing. Goes to Oakland, then decides he doesn't want to play for Oakland, so he burns his feet on that damn thing.
Cryotherapy.
The cryotherapy.
Yeah.
Then the helmet. Then you jump into this situation. You're like, what is happening here? Then he plays the voicemail that Coach Gruden, the conversation they had, he plays it on his Instagram, which gets him kind of going forward to getting out of Oakland. Then he's let go finally after he confronts Mike Maycock, who is the GM of Oakland, where he boots a ball somewhere or something like that in a confrontation, then ends up in Patriots. And then all these allegations go up because he didn't tell the Patriots about these accusations. You're like, oh my God, this is nuts all around. So you got to go pretty hard to like top Ocho Cinco and Terrell Owens and Randy Moss with this nutty behavior. He certainly takes
Which
the
is crazy. It's all receivers.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's all
It's never quarterbacks.
It's always receivers.
Yeah.
It's always amazing.
Diva receivers.
Keyshawn, throw me the damn ball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So that was the first time I was like, wow, geez, that's aggressive. But put out a book titled that.
Right, but it's all receivers. It's like, you see it like, yo, everybody goes crazy receivers, and it's the black ones. Y'all need to get y'all act together.
Well, it's because there's so few elite white receivers. I don't know. I mean, Adam Thielen's a really nice guy, but maybe if we had like two on each team, we'd
What
have
was
more
Wes
of this.
Welker and Julian Edelman? They were elite receivers in a sense.
I don't know. Edelman was looking boss in that game against the Bills. He was crazy in that game. Give it to me. I don't touch that comment you made. That's the opinions of Jay Washington. The opinions of Jay Washington alone. So let's leave it at that. But yes, we'll see where this thing ends up. You're right. There's probably a number of teams that want Antonio Brown next year. Look at Gordon, right? Josh Gordon's come back 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah, but his was pot.
Right, but
And it's gone again.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. He entered into another. So the thing is, people do want talent on their team, and they're willing to deal with any kind of stuff you're going through, both personal or outside of personal situations, to get you on the team. So Antonio Brown, he's not done with the NFL. Oh, one last thing. He also signed up to go back to school.
He did.
Throw that in the mix as well.
And just recorded a music video on his dining room table.
Man, my man shoved in a lot in 6 months. I tell you what. All right, my number 2. Oh wait, Matt, did we do yours already? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then my number 2 is Tiger Woods winning the Masters here this year. Pretty incredible stuff. 43 years old, winning it for the first time, I think, since 1997 when he did it there. I mean, beating kids who were inspired to play golf by him winning in 97 to come back and still do it, suffering through all those back injuries. Of course, his personal problems he had with his wife. Everybody knows about that. And all the things that came out about him, some of the substance abuse, getting caught on the side of the road, asleep, those kinds of things that all kind of were leading towards Tiger being a joke. He turned it all around with his performance here in the Masters. And people who had kind of written Tiger off got to got to remember how great this guy really was.
Yeah, to go back to those glory years where I tuned in all the time, because if you had any inkling that Tiger was going to be in contention, I tuned in. I watched because he was that magnetic of a player over and over and over again. And, he's had to go through a bunch of self-inflicted things, adverse situations, to overcome all the problems that he put in front of himself, and the back injuries on top of that he didn't have any control over. You know, your body breaks down, especially as father time progresses. And to reach the mountaintop again, and you start having the discussion of, could he end up with the most majors? Something that we thought was a foregone conclusion a decade ago.
Right.
And then he had the drop off, and now it's, what if he picked off like 2, 3, 4 more over the next couple of years? He's back in this conversation. It's really fun to have him again, and golf needs it. Golf needs him back, because the few tournaments that he's been in, the majors, their ratings have gone through the roof. It's crazy that they have all these other guys who are excellent, and yet it's still Tiger draws the casual and passive fans back into it. And I hope he continues, because when he is in the mix, man, I watch a lot more golf.
I do too. Sorry, you had a Jordan Spieth who was young. He was everywhere. They were putting Jordan Spieth everywhere to try to pump up golf's viewership, and it just wasn't happening. But Tiger comes back. He starts making a run through, because at first we've heard Tiger come back in many other tournaments, and it's not been good. He's out early, but then he makes a run through the Masters, and everybody's like, wait, what? And so you're watching again. Remember all those endorsements and those advertisers he had personally who backed away from him. Now, all of a sudden, after he gets the green jacket again, they're back on him. They're like, hey, Tiger, do you want to go back with Tag Heuer for some reason? Like, do you want another Buick? All these things are coming back. And again, the eyes are on the game again. Mm-hmm. Will he keep going? Like, I didn't know you could have that many injuries in golf, first and foremost. I can see a back injury, of course.
Yeah.
I can see back injuries. I can see anything like shoulder and stuff. But like and then you see how swole he got too. When you see Tiger Woods went in the gym.
He chappelled?
He chappelled up to play golf. That is scary.
He changed the game doing that.
I mean, he's made golfers not look like what you joke about golfers looking like. Golfers took themselves to look like true athletes.
Right.
You know, and I know people say they're athletes regardless, but when we talk about athletes, we're talking about like some baseball players, because not all of them.
You still had John Daly. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
In the not too distant past, and he was an elite golfer.
Yeah.
The guy smoked and drank. So they've moved away from that. And Spieth, he's, at the top of it and saying, you know what, I think I finally figured this game out, and he has all this bravado.
Yeah.
You would think that type of winner would get people, because this country likes winners. So it's just like, oh hell yeah, I will gladly watch a win. Nothing doesn't move the ratings needle. Rory never moved the ratings.
Right.
Phil kinda, but Phil's on the the back end to his prime, and they've never gotten anybody quite near what Tiger is.
Yeah, pretty incredible. 15. It's his 15th major. He had let me see if I read this right. He had multiple surgeries that almost ended his career. In 2017, he underwent a spinal fusion surgery, which was his 4th back surgery. And 2 years later, he is a Masters champion again. Pretty incredible stuff. We'll see what the future holds. And he didn't win like he normally wins by like 10, 15 strokes. He won by 1 stroke. So he gutted and gritted this victory out. And, Matt, a sports guy, Jay too. We love an underdog. We love a comeback story. Certainly Tiger Woods was that. So
he's mortal.
Yes.
It is weird to say that he's mortal, and this was a comeback story for Tiger Woods. The dude we thought was like, golf is all about who beats Tiger now.
Yeah. For the longest time, it was the bets were Tiger or the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was a legitimate bet. Is it Tiger or is it the field? And most times you go, I'm taking Tiger because the better odds are with Tiger.
Yeah.
Like, that's how dominant he was.
That's true. All right, what's our number one? What's your number one, Jay?
My number one for 2019, even though before I go there, my honorable mention that John Rocha refused to let me put in.
I did.
Really?
I did.
Veto action.
I did.
Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship. And I know a lot of people
that's not a sport.
See, you all are going to stop.
That's what I said,
not
Matt.
a sport. I'll shake your hand on that. I got zero problem with that.
No, here's why I
Proper
say that.
editorial decision.
I understand how people, we know their storylines.
I wanted to put it in, too, for the record.
We know their storylines. We know there's choreography to the matches.
Yeah.
But the historic value of having the first black WWE champion.
Full black.
Because everybody be like, what about The Rock? Go look at that man's family history picture. You only see just Soul Man Rocky Johnson, and that's it. But to have that and to have him have a legacy run, which he's had, even though it ended abruptly, to have what he did. So Kofi Kingston holds it, because I know me and about every other black person who decided to watch wrestling that day cried simultaneously at the 3 count. Yep. No matter what, whether you knew it was happening or not, to see it happen, to see it fulfilled. So that was my honorable mention. But
you got it on here anyway. All right, go ahead.
But my number one has been Simone Biles breaking every single gymnastics record. This girl has gone crazy. As of now, she has 25 medals. 19 of them are gold.
Yeah.
She has so many records set. She is the most decorated gymnast of all time as of right now, and still can keep going. It was just surreal. Like, again, you only hear about gymnastics really when it's time for the Olympics. And that's the only time people really care about it, when it's the trials and the Olympics themselves. But she's made it relevant to keep watching throughout no matter what, because, again, like with Tiger, she's involved.
Yeah.
And people have kept eyes on it.
Yeah, agree with you. I'm looking at the stats right now for her. She's the first gymnast to have won 5 golds at a single world's event since 1958. That's mind-blowing. And no one is talking about her at the way that they used to talk about Shawn Johnson or Mary Lou Retton or Terry Strug.
That's what I'm
these other ones.
Don't you think that we only had those discussions because they were centered around the Olympics, and then it dissipated over time?
Okay.
So it's not like we talked about Mary Lou Retton's career pre or post.
True.
But she was
I
a
was just
pop culture
and that's what I was just
figure
saying. Like,
thereafter.
Because once the Olympics are about to come back around, of course we're going to be talking about Simone Biles consistently.
She's going to try to go for 5 again.
Yeah, right. So we're going to talk about her consistently. But the fact she's kept doing this, and it's flown under the radar, but not fully under the radar.
Right.
People still like, yo, she just set another record here. She just won more goals here. And it's like she keeps winning. But again, it's not getting that full, front page story always. But that was my top thing, because she was just dominant in a field that's like, yo, she's broken all the records in this. Like, who's gonna come? Like, there's gonna be eventually, maybe 20, 30 years, who knows how long, somebody that'll probably do and beat that. But as of right now, she's destroyed everything the Olympics and gymnastics have set.
Yep.
I'm glad you brought this up, because I had no idea. I am one of those people that you brought up. I don't follow until the Olympics. I don't know anything about it. Every once and again, like some sort of larger competition will pop up, but it's because it'd be someone like her versus somebody else who's also like the European equivalent.
Yeah.
And it will basically percolate up to the top of kind of a ESPN or something like that I might see. So it's good to know now. Maybe perhaps I'll keep an eye out for it. So thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story, and certainly we'll keep an eye out, because if she wins another 5 golds at a second Olympics, we're talking greatest Olympic athlete ever.
She's the greatest Olympian ever.
Yeah, conversation, certainly, for certain.
You ever seen the old videos of the gymnasts, like you were talking about from way back in the day?
Yeah.
They're 5 golds, like if they were on the balance beam, they like walk down, do a scissor kick and land, and people are like, look at her.
10,
so talented.
Oh my
so
God.
Talented.
So talented. Oh my God.
And now she does things that defy physics, and you're like, I don't know how you didn't kill yourself practicing this.
Like, she's a legit, she could be an Avenger with all the stuff she does. She could be an Avenger.
Possible.
So
that has happened before. Sonia Henney, for those of you who are old film fans, she won gold medals figure skating at the Olympics, became a film star right afterwards. So, hey, you never know. You never know. They did the Simone Biles story already. Simone Biles story. They did already as a movie recently as well. All right, Matt, what's your number 1?
My number 1 was, once again, I'll do what Jay did. If I can sneak in an honorable. Had John Morant made the dunk the other night, that would have made my top 5.
Oh, my God.
For those that haven't seen it, he almost sent Kevin Love to the grave.
Did you see Kevin Love when he
prayers
tweeted,
up. Thank God.
He tweeted about, was like, I almost lost my career.
Oh, my God.
Dude, it was inches away from being the second best in-game dunk I've ever seen in my life. But he missed it, so unfortunately, it doesn't make my top 5.
Fair enough.
My number 1 is Kawhi in the ungodly numerous bounce against the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, man.
I let out a noise that I didn't know I could do for sports. And neither of these two are my team, and I was so engaged. I didn't care who won. I just wanted a good game, and that was all. Everybody in Toronto did not want to shoot except for Kawhi. They just kept deferring the ball, and his usage rate was just bananas that game. And he's just like, fine, I will keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting. And they took him. He ran to the corner, and Embiid is out there. They are doubling him. They get in his face, and he shoots a fadeaway 3 in the corner as he's going out of bounds into Philly's bench, and it bounces, and then rolls in. And honestly, that is the difference, because otherwise Philly wins that game, in my opinion. And then with Golden State's injuries, Philly is the champion right now. So that bounces
you're right.
Made Toronto, got Toronto into the finals, and then they ultimately won the championship. So that to me was the best sports moment of the year. I think it's fantastic, and it will live on in Raptors lore and NBA lore for the rest of the league's history.
Yeah, agreed.
Threw that ball, because everybody had to keep replaying. It was like, he was out of bounds. He was out of bounds. They kept looking at it. It was like, no, his feet are right here when he releases the ball. Like, he was, nobody could believe it. Because if you look at every player on Philly's face, they just were like,
what? Because it's a playground shot. It's a playground shot. It's back of the rim, up, bouncing over, back of the board, then settles in.
Think about it. It could have hit the top of the backboard and been out of bounds.
Yeah.
And it didn't. The way it just went, doop.
And it barely caught the edge of the rim.
Yeah.
To go backwards to make it even in. It was an incredible shot. Not a standard buzzer beater that we're used to seeing, which is these swishes from LeBron or Kobe or what have you. This was, or Jordan as well. This was a little more of an unconventional one, but it also leads to my number 1, which is Kawhi leading them to the title, them actually winning the NBA championship, which was pretty incredible. Kawhi took this team on his back, and as Matt just said, and he's the host of Dropping Dimes, he knows nobody else wanted to shoot in that game against Philly. Kawhi had to take it. It was so reminiscent of the Sacramento Kings when nobody wanted to shoot between Bibby and and Weber to beat those Lakers in overtime that year. You had to have some alpha dog step up.
Yeah.
Kawhi had to be that alpha dog. He did it, carried them to the title, and that's why they still love him even after he left.
Yeah, he got a standing O when he went back there.
Exactly.
And rightly deserved. And Canada, you did right by him because, look, he never wanted to go to Canada, but he fully embraced it. He brought you a championship, and you guys are thankful, and that's what fandom should be.
I think that's the biggest thing, that he didn't want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
He was like close to being like, I'll sit this season out almost.
Yeah.
And then play. And again, with that final shot for Kyle Lowry to be like, here.
Oh,
yeah, and you go.
You take it.
Right.
It's Kyle Lowry's team. And him to say,
Yeah, but that's Kyle Lowry in the playoffs. Until last year.
I don't want to do it. Don't make me do it.
Him and DeRozan is like, Luke, you shoot. Nah, I don't want to break again.
This is very fair.
Meanwhile, LeBron steals the ball.
Exactly, the boogeyman of LeBron hovering over them at all times, and they're just
So true.
Yeah,
So
and
true.
watching that game, you're like, look, Toronto's going to collapse again, even with Kawhi, and then Kawhi's just like, nah, I
got
keep
this.
shooting. Yeah.
Yep. And there were injuries for the Warriors, sure, but you still have to put those balls in the basket and you have to lead that team.
True.
And Kawhi did it.
And don't forget Pascal Siakam.
Yes, Siakam,
who became
fantastic.
one of the most improved players. They were like, where did this dude come from?
Yeah.
Because like he wasn't this good of a player in his previous years. They're like,
No, 3 years ago, he was averaging 9 points a game.
yeah. So everybody was like, wait, what? This is the same dude?
Yeah, it's amazing what confidence can do for you and can do for a team.
Yes,
That's
yes.
how you lead, and certainly they did that, Kawhi. So shout out. That's the number one sport moment of the year from Collider SportsTime. Of course, Simone Biles is Jay's, but certainly Kawhi and Matt and I have Kawhi Leonard as our number one. What is your number one? Let us know in the comments section below. And thanks again for watching this show, Jay. Where can they find you, man?
Twitter, Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAYWASHINGTON.
Matt.
You can follow me anywhere at Matt Knost. We've got this comes out on the 30th.
Yeah.
The 30th. So then John will be on Dropping Dimes this Tuesday. So please, or Wednesday rather, please tune in for that. I believe that's when it'll be dropping. Enjoy your New Year's, and that's it.
Yeah, and you can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Thanks again for all you guys have done to support the show in 2019 and watch our show. Of course, you can follow me at The Rocha Says. And of course, don't forget the top 10. We got 2 live shows coming up in Houston and in England next year, in London rather next year. So go and find that on both our social media accounts. And big shout out to Adam Smith, who has dealt with all this sports stuff so incredibly well. No way. And Cody Hall as well. We couldn't have done it without both those guys and helping us, the entire production team. So, and you watching. So thanks a lot. Have yourself a safe and happy new year. And remember what we say.
Pedialyte.
There you go. Pedialyte. And whatever you need to do to get through the tough times of the holidays. If you're going to suffer through tough times, hey, do what you need to do. We want to see you in 2020. Maybe watch some old Sports Times episodes and make yourself laugh. So take care. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great new year.